the good is the target, is the goal. You don't want to miss that, right? So here's the good, right? Right? You don't want to miss it. You don't want to fall away from the good, because if you miss it, if you miss the good, here's our target. Well, to that degree, fall away from the good, they're deprived of sharing in the one. Well, to that degree, then they lose their sense of unity, they lose their sense of wholeness, lose their sense of completion, no longer thinking about unifying or any of these higher things. There's no perfection in it all. Oh, by the way, what's interesting, is it not, is that to keep from falling away from the good, to keep from falling away, right? This language, right? That's to keep from missing the mark or the target. Because if you don't keep from missing, if you don't stop yourself from missing the mark, wow, you're going to miss the mark, and all of these things are going to follow. By the way, the Greek word for to keep from missing the mark is translated as this word. And to keep yourself from it, right, to escape it, to free yourself from it, that's to free oneself. That's remission. Repentance, sir. Thank you. Right. See, in order to keep yourself from missing the mark, you know what you have to do? You have to turn your mind around. You have to keep your mind on what you're doing. You have to keep your mind on what you're doing. And if you keep your mind on what you're doing, you have to turn your mind around from missing the mark. And that's the word that's translated as repentance. But it's really turning the mind around, right? That's the idea. Turn your mind around so you keep from missing the mark. So this language has been picked up and is commonly used in Stoic thinking, especially Stoic thinking and Christianity, both. So then let's go back. Going back to the first statement now. Every good unifies what shares in it. Every good unifies what shares in it. Right? And all union is good. Therefore, the good and the one are identical. So we go back to where we started from after this excursion. And we say, now look here, have we offered some possible way of understanding that the good and the one are identical? Well, we started out with these, right? Every good, these are goods, unifies what shares in it. All union is good. We did that several times. Well, then, good heavens, you know what that means? It means they're the same. So we have looked at the terms. These are the terms. We've seen how you can put them in a priority. We took a look at the relations and the functions, and we drew these beautiful pictures to show how they function. And then we wanted then to list or identify the things that you would call good and those that you call a union, or that has achieved a union. So let's see now whether we can read this in terms of the very thing that was suggested. All right? A relationship that has reached some completion. Shall we? And let's get a reader just to read it through with that in mind, without changing anything other than that. Right? Just read it through. And we need a volunteer, do we not? Good, thank you for volunteering.
Read through the whole?
Yeah. Can you substitute for us?
Substitute.
Yes. Or read it in mind. Come on, read it with that in mind. Come on, let's do it. All right.
Every good, such as unity of two loving beings, unify what shares in that union.
Yeah. And that union is?
A loving union, sexual union.
And what are you going to call it?
What do I want to call it?
Yeah. Good.
Good. Right.
Right, got to get back. Right, got it right.
Okay.
And if that's so, then?
All union is good, and the good is the same as the one. Right.
Because they become a
one.
By heaven.
When they become. Have that.
Very good. How about the next sentence?
If indeed the good brings about the wholeness of all beings.
Hey, it brought these two together.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what does it do?
Brings about the wholeness.
Brings about the wholeness of this relationship. Right. Go ahead. And?
It makes them whole and holds together the usia of each.
And it holds together that relationship, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Right? Whatever it is that turning about, would you not agree they're likely to have gone through some kind of reflection on themselves and upon one another? All right, good. Keep going.
And then the good for those it is present to brings completion as one.
Well, then to the degree that that's true, what are we saying? Therefore, the good to those it is present
Then
to.
there'll be a completion
As one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
it will hold together
according to the union. Well, go ahead. Next paragraph.
And if the one is what brings together and holds together beings.
Now he's saying, hey. Now we take the other side. If the one is what
brings together
and
together.
Holds together beings.
It perfects each.
Therefore, this is a perfection.
According to its presence.
According to the presence of the one. Because the oneness that they experience to that degree brings about a perfection. Go ahead.
Then in this way, unification is good for all.
Hey, if it's good for these two. Right.
But if union is in itself good.
Yeah, if that unification is in itself good.
And the good is what unifies.
And the good is what does that unifying. Right. Then?
The unqualified good and the unqualified one is the same.
Yeah. Unifying and?
Good.
No, go ahead.
Goodness. Oh, sorry. Unifying and at the same time making beings good.
Right. It unifies them, and at the same time it makes each of these good. Right? Go ahead. A little bit more.
Indeed.
And now this is that third remark where it's the negative case.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Indeed, whenever those that in some way fall away from
And if either of these fall away from that, go ahead.
they are at the same time deprived of sharing in the one.
Right. That oneness that they achieve. Go ahead.
And when those come to have no share in the one,
They lost
they are deprived of the good.
They've lost the good in the same way.
The same way.
Yeah. Now,
Goodness is union,
right?
and union is goodness.
The good is the one,
naturally,
naturally,
and the one is primarily the good.
right?